Welcome back to News 13 at 6. Could you live without your cell phone, or have you become addicted?
News 13's Addie Hampton answers these questions in the second installment of her special report, The Connect Effect. Now, Addie, we were talking earlier, there's a named phobia for the literal fear of being without your cell phone.
There is, and research suggests millions of us have it, feeling if we ever lost our phone, it would feel like the start of a horror movie.
Does the thought of no signal on your cell phone make you squirm? Do you break out in a cold sweat over a low battery? And just how many times have you checked Facebook today? It may be a sign that you have nomophobia, or the literal fear of being without your phone. It may sound outrageous, but a study by British company SecureEnvoy shows 66% of the population may have it.
People get a message, look at their phone. If they don't have a message, they're looking down at their phone, anticipating a message. I do think a lot of people nowadays are addicted to their cell phones.
Florida State psychology professor Dr. Amy Polick says while nomophobia is not yet a recognized phobia, cell phone addiction is a very real thing.
A way that we can look at it is that people are carrying around little slot machines in their pocket, just waiting for the payout of a text message, of a phone call, of an email, and it's the underlying mechanisms of being addicted to your cell phone are very similar to things like being addicted to gambling or being addicted to drugs.
But instead of seeking help, she says, most just laugh it off.
It's a socially acceptable addiction. Our culture allows people to be on cell phones whenever they want to. These days, it seems that people take their cell phones just about everywhere, from the school to the office, hey, even to the beach, and even to some places that you think people really wouldn't even want to take them.
Most people will flat out admit they're obsessed.
I would like to say no, but I think at the end of the day, we all are. Anyone who has a smartphone.
Yes. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah. But who is it? I mean, it's the people who really aren't obsessed, or it's the people who are not in the same generation.
It's called Generation Text. College-age kids and younger who've never seen a time without cell phones. Something Polick says could damage family and social connections through lack of face-to-face interaction.
If you're at the dinner table with your family, think of the bonding that isn't happening anymore just because you're on your cell phone and you're not paying attention to how everybody's day went.
She says it's not just a question of how we're using our cell phones, it's how much.
4 hours a day. Sadly, probably 10 hours of the day.
A long time. I mean, I had to charge my phone probably twice a day.
Probably like at least 23 hours.
While that's an exaggeration, Polick says the potential ramifications of this growing culture are anything but.
You know, as a culture, if we are this addicted to our cell phones now, we're going to find ourselves to be less social than we were 20 years ago, and we already see it.
Ironic, considering the devices that are supposed to connect us the most are the ones who are potentially breaking us apart.
Polick suggests taking a tech break from your devices if you feel yourself becoming too dependent on them.
Okay.
Meanwhile, if you can't beat them, join them, right?
Yeah, that's probably right. So we know we're going to use them anyway. We might as well test them out to see what companies are the best service in our area. We put them to the test, and that's tonight at 10 on the Connect Effect.
All right, we can all relate.
Yes.
Addie Hampton, thank you.
Thanks, guys.